Hello everyone, this is Wolven Sister, and I'm back making another little video here. This video is a little bit different than my other walkthroughs that I've done previously. Instead, this is just gonna give you a bit of an origin story behind my webcomic Between the Realms. I've had a few of my Tapastic readers over on Tapastic ask like what the behind the scenes were kind of with this comic, like what inspired me to make it, what got me to want to make a comic about it. So instead of just making a wall of text, I just decided to make a fun little video explaining it while you guys watch me do some personal artwork from it. So here it is. So basically, Between the Realms started a long time ago when I was like about 16, I think. And it started out as a story, a kind of a written novel, because at the time I was writing a lot of novels because I was in high school, and during that time I basically took a 4-year-long hiatus from drawing because I was so outgoing in high school. I didn't have time really to draw. I only had a limited amount of free time and I spent it writing. So it started off as a story where the main character was a woman, and she was the last human on Earth, and so she was the last human on Earth, and she was surrounded by all these fantasy creatures, and basically the fantasy creatures, they existed, they were real, and they basically rose up against mankind and started this huge fight and this huge, war that basically demolished the whole human population. And the main character, she was supposed to bring change and also bring coexistence between the creatures and the humans, because during her travels she was going to find that there are small pockets of humans still surviving, and she was supposed to bring them together and all that other fun stuff. But as I tried writing it, I restarted it several times, and it just I kept hitting all of these ruts and walls, and it wasn't going anywhere. And it had all of my favorite creatures in it, shapeshifters, mainly shapeshifters. But it also had other creatures too that I sort of made up. I love shapeshifters and all that. They're like my favorite fantasy creature, aside from mermaids and stuff. Mermaids and dragons and shapeshifters, oh my. The creatures were that, and since it didn't go anywhere and I had such a hard time finding anything, I just basically put it on a back burner and I just didn't continue it. And then when I was an adult, I was living in England for several years, and I was back into drawing because I wasn't in school anymore, so I had time to draw again. And I had these two characters from role plays and stuff, and I wanted to do a story with them. I wanted to do a love story. At the time I didn't know if I wanted to do a girl love story, but it sort of blossomed into that, which is all fine. It's fun either way. I just wanted to do a romance. The fact that they became girl, it became a girl webcomic, doesn't really matter. So I wanted to do a story with them, but I didn't know what kind of plot. So I decided to what if I do the last human on Earth story? But then I was like, I can't do the last human on Earth story because I don't want to deal with all, I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to deal with all the naysayers that just push up their glasses. I have glasses, I can say that, that just sort of push up their glasses and are like, well, scientifically this would never happen, if, against all probable cause and reasoning, this would never happen, blah, 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 blah. And I just didn't want to deal with all that. So I was like, well, I know what to do then. I'll put it in a parallel dimension because I love parallel dimensions. I love the theory on it. I love stories and fairy tales and myths and legends from all around the world that take place in another plane of existence. I just love it. I just get so excited. Any book, any comic, any movie where it's a story taking place in an alternate universe, alternate dimension, I'm all for it. like you got me you had me at hello. So that's like, so it just sort of started off as like this little tiny concept from when I was 16 years old, 10 years ago. God, 10 years ago. and it just sort of rippled into what it is now, and it's so awesome. So you know, I mean, it went through a lot of changes, and it went through a lot of growth, and I think it's all for the better. And I'm so excited to be able to share all this culture and lifestyles and creatures and groups of people that I've made up and you know, pulled inspiration from, you know, from here on Earth to basically expand upon in that alternate universe in the comic. And so I'm just so excited to be able to share all of it, and things I couldn't do back when it was a literary novel, I can do now because it's a webcomic and because I made so many changes to it. And I just, you know, with the original premise and these two characters that I have that are basically bringing it to life in a sense, it's kind of like it's kind of birthed into like its own life form in like a sense. So it's really cool. So what made me want to turn into a webcomic? Well, I love creating comics. I love the visual storytelling. I've loved comics. I love manga. You know, all that other fun stuff. I love it. So making it into a comic was kind of like a no-brainer for me. And I wanted to share it with people. Even if it turned out not that many people read it, I at least wanted to share this story and share this idea out there, because like, no idea is original. There's no such thing as an original idea, but I think the way you tell a story can make it original. Like the whole fish out of water story, the whole being teleported to another dimension or another time period has been done 1,001 times by 1,001 different authors and creators. It's been done, but I think the way you tell it can work, and the way you tell it can make it original. So I was like, well, there's all these stories, and they're all great, and I love all these stories, but I want to tell my version of it. I want to bring something new to the table. So that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to bring something new to the table. So you know, it is a different parallel dimension person be sucked into a different parallel dimension story, but it's going to be different. It's going to be different. And there might be some similarities, there might be some things you can predict, but I'm gonna try and keep you guys on your toes as much as I can, and I can't give away any spoilers. but I'm basically gonna try and keep you guys on your toes as much as I can. I'm gonna try and diversify it as much as I can from other stories out there, especially when it comes to girl comics. I feel like since there's not that many girl love comics, there's sort of this cliches, and you can kind of predict what they're going to do, and they're sort of like two-dimensional characters. They're not very well rounded, but I'm going to try and change that with this, because these two, I'm going to try and make them as real as possible. Basically, not real as possible, but I'm gonna try and make their emotions and their actions seem plausible. That like anyone under duress can have this kind of reaction, or anyone under happiness can have that kind of reaction, or something like that, you know, just just all the other crazy stuff. So that's what I'm basically doing. and I wanted to make it a webcomic because, in all honesty, I make comics for a living, and I need some form of escape. I need some form of comic that I'm making for fun. I'm not making it for profit. I'm just making it for fun. I'm not making it for critics. I'm not making it to change the world. I'm just making it for fun. If people are inspired by it, if people fall in love with it, if people hate it, then that's totally fine. At least it gave you some kind of reaction. And that's what art is to give you some kind of reaction. Good, bad, whatever, it's a reaction. And so like, that's kind of what I want to do. I want to share it and bring something new to the table. And whether people like it or hate it, it's there if they ever want to look through it. I'm not forcing this in anyone's faces, and, you know, I don't expect this to change anything. I just want people to enjoy it as much as I enjoy it, and I want people to love these characters as much as I love these characters. But if you don't, that's totally fine. There are times when I hate these characters too, because gosh darn it, they just don't want to work with me sometimes. So, but I mean, you know, that's all I really have to say on the background of it. If you guys want, I mean, I can give you more origin stories on the characters, on the art style, I don't know, anything else. Just leave your questions, comments, suggestions below, or you can reach me on Tapastic or whatever. I do plan on making more tutorials. I have some more artwork. I have some more artwork in the back that I plan on doing and making tutorials on. You know, I want to make a grayscaling and fur tutorial. I want to do more comic tutorials, all of those stuff. So more videos will be coming out in the future. And this webcomic, if you guys are interested, if any of you are brand new to the whole webcomic thing, it's always updated once a week on Tapastic and Tumblr. And it's free to read. And links are always in the description below. And I mean, that's all I really have to say for now. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye!